I mean, how to make radio hits and all that stuff is just a different world.
It is.
So why don't you?
So hey man, have you ever heard of Alex Jones?
Start over. What did you just say? Did you say Alex Jones?
Yeah, you ever heard of Alex Jones?
Frick, dude. Has Alex Jones ever heard of the real Alex Jones is the question, all right? Because that guy thinks he is who he is, but does he really know who he is, you know?
I don't think he knows. I don't think he does.
This is going to be a great episode. Things I learned last night. TILLN it. Dude, I'm so excited. Hey, be careful. They're putting stuff in the water. Well, they were doing a whole episode about Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
This isn't some like obscure NFL player that's gonna be like, ha ha, gotcha.
Yeah, there's actually a thing here that says for other people named Alex Jones, see Alex Jones. It's just a list of people named Alex Jones. Yeah. There's a lot. There is a lot. There's an actor, a baseball player, a basketball player, a cricketer, a footballer, another footballer, a journalist, a playwright, a preacher.
I'm a
racing
cricketer.
driver, a rugby league player.
Okay. Yeah, just the league. the Alex Jones Rugby League. That makes sense, though. That guy would start a rugby league.
Yeah, that was weird. It says rugby league, and then there's like a bunch of other stuff, and then it's like he's a rugby
player.
League player. Yeah, a Welsh presenter, television presenter.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's actually a couple Alexander Jones and Alexander Jones.
Welch?
Alex Jones.
Like Welch's grape juice?
Yeah. Well, Welch's has a news source.
One of their spokespersons is Alex Jones. A different one though. They're trying to. Okay, so we're talking about the one that I'm thinking of.
Well, I don't know what you're thinking of. Tell me who you're thinking of.
The cricketer.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So Alex Jones got into cricket.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so Alex Jones, if you don't know who Alex Jones is, quick little gloss. He's a madman. It's a good place to start. So Alex Jones...
Okay, if you don't know who Alex Jones is, do you remember our episode about John McAfee?
Or every other episode where we've referenced it.
Like, there's so many episodes where we're talking about Alex Jones.
I know.
Man, here's what I love about talking about Alex Jones is that there's a real chance he'll hear this because he's like straight up like a psychopath who will look for it.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And then he'll sit down and listen to the whole thing while he's doing like yoga with live tigers walking around.
And he'll be like Instagram living the whole thing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm listening to this podcast.
Listen to this podcast right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm drinking the ground up teeth of my old neighbor. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, what? He was a liberal and he needed to go. Like, whoa.
Liberal teeth are high in antioxidants. They're good for Armageddon.
You can buy a tub of them on my website. It's alexjonescom.survive. We couldn't afford alexjones.com. That's the cricketer got to it first.
And he wouldn't play fair.
Dude, Alex Jones should be the host. Have you seen the Netflix series Preppers?
Yeah.
Alex Jones should be the host of Preppers.
That would be incredible.
I want to see a Jim Baker Alex Jones crossover. You know who Jim Baker is? He's that like pastor down in Branson, Missouri. We should go to a Jim Baker.
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Taping.
Done.
Nice. Okay.
That would be a very intense crossover.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So Alex Jones is he's founder of
Infowars.
This guy called Infowars.
Is it not a guy?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's got this thing called Infowars where he just spouts out insane conspiracies and treats them like they're legitimate news.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's his whole brand.
That's his whole brand. His whole brand is just crazy conspiracy theories and screaming.
I'm surprised he didn't do 4 hours on the whole Avril Lavigne thing. He's like, there's some weight to this.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that. His stuff is all very big. Like, there is this underlying controlling force in the government that's puppeteering everything. And so, like, everything he sees, he's like, that's the puppeteers controlling this. And he's like, the mainstream media is trying to
My favorite clip
hide
is
it.
whenever he talked about how he wore fancy suits. Because if you're gonna take down the machine, you got to look like you're one of them. Like straight up, like
He's an inside man.
Where he's like, people ask why I dress like this and why I hang out with the people that I do, but if you're gonna take down this beast, or you got to go straight into the belly of it. And you're like, what?
That's great. That's exactly how he talks.
And I guess I'm really curious as we get into this. Is that a character? Or is he straight up
real?
like legit believe those things?
That's some questions we'll explore today.
Okay.
So I'm glad you brought that up. But
First of all, let's start. When was he born?
he was born February 11th, 1974.
That makes sense.
So we should just release this on his birthday. No,
Is it a Tuesday?
I don't know.
It's not. It's it is a Tuesday. Straight up, February 11th is a Tuesday.
What do you have the calendar memorized?
Yeah.
February
It's a Tuesday.
11th is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Why do you know that?
Because I know when my shows are.
Oh.
And I go, I got a show on the 8th. That's a Saturday night, whatever,
That's fair.
So, also my birthday is when?
February 28th?
Wow.
23rd.
You didn't get the first try. That's fine.
8-3, same number.
I remember your birthday.
What is it?
It's May 13th. It's the day that Red Robin almost killed my whole family.
That's the only reason you know my birthday. That's the only reason.
So it is a Tuesday. So maybe this will come out on Alex Jones' birthday. Happy birthday, Alex Jones.
Can we make a montage?
Yeah.
We want to wish happy birthday to Alex Jones. And so our producers put together this little montage to say, thank you, Alex.
Birthdays aren't real. All right, the birthday is just a government construct made to make you feel like you're getting older, but your body wouldn't get older if they weren't putting stuff in the water. We would last forever, okay? Happy birthday, Alex Jones.
We're thankful for you. So Alex, here's a...
I have so many, I'm so excited about
There's
Alex Jones.
so many rabbit holes and routes that you can go. And there's just so many things that he's done that's like, wow, that is insane.
The questions I have that I hope you get to, just so you know what my priorities are. Okay. One, I want to know, is this real? Yeah. But two, I want to know how he rose to the prominence that he's at.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Because that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes.
Because I really don't understand why there's so many people who know who Alex Jones is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll kind of talk a bit about Alex Jones and everything that he's doing now.
People are like, how did Jaron
controversy
rise to prominence in any kind of way? Like, why do people know who that guy is?
Does anybody? What's the point? What's the
point?
Dude,
he did one Chick-fil-A rap. Everything else he's done is super try hard. His buddy Tim is honestly just not interesting in any way. I don't understand why these guys are doing a podcast. I love that you got a flesh-colored hoodie, by the way. That's really...
The goal was that people would think I was shirtless, but had a
That's what your skin looks like.
Weird. Like, it just sat weird.
That's right. I said that about a baggy sweater the other day. I was like, yeah, that's what I look like now.
This is what I want my body to look like. This is my ideal form. So I've been going to the gym trying to get to this. I told my trainer, I was like, how can you make my body look like this?
He's like, well, you got to gain a lot of weight first, and then we got to get started.
And then you got to run just a lot.
And then never stop.
And you got to go to a doctor, and he's got to... Okay, anyways. So, Alex Jones, very interesting guy, very interesting life. We'll just start at the beginning. He was born in a suburb of Dallas, where he grew up and had a surprisingly normal childhood. You look at his childhood, and it's pretty average. His dad was a dentist, owned his own practice. His mom was a stay-at-home mom. He was the oldest kid, and then played football, did the scouts, did everything that just a normal kid in the 70s did. Yeah. Gets to high school, though, and that's when things started getting a little odd for Alex Jones.
In high school?
Yeah, in high school. So he was on the football team, and he started getting really frustrated because he claimed that he was seeing the local police selling drugs all the time. And so he's like, I would see them pull up to the high school, still in uniform. They would come in their personal cars, but still in uniform right after shift and sell
their
drugs.
Personal cars?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'd see this guy pull up full uniform in a Toyota Corolla. And I was like, that's probably a drug deal.
Probably a drug deal. Yeah, and so he would see them selling drugs, and then those same officers would be back at school doing the DARE program or doing drug tests for the football team before their games or whatever, and he'd be like, And he like called them out as hypocrites all the time and was like constantly like yelling at the cops when they would come to school and be like, "You guys are liars! Like you're hypocrites! You're out here selling drugs to kids on the weekend and then busting them during the week and like just like getting really
No,
fired
he
up
had
about
the
it."
voice he has now in high school. In high school, he's like, "You guys are liars! You're selling drugs to the kids."
And everyone's like, "How does your voice sound
They're
like that?"
Whoa, dude! Like, do you practice this at home? Is that why it's gravelly? Like, do you yell at yourself in the mirror and then come to school and aggressively yell at the cops?
Yeah, and so he actually gets pulled over his sophomore year of high school.
Oh, this is where it really starts.
Yeah, and so when he gets pulled over, it's one of those cops that he's seen selling drugs, and so he goes off on.
Should have just tried to buy drugs.
What do you got?
Well, I mean, if he's going to do an undercover out, if you're going to try to call him out, you should
right.
at least get evidence.
Fair. Well, he blew up
Sophomore
on
in
the
high
cop.
school didn't
So he
think.
blew up on the cop, and the cop was like, "Hey, I'm gonna arrest you," and that's what he did. So he arrested Alex, took him in, and while they're there, like he's kind of like got him in that room, interviewing him and stuff, and Alex still blowing up on him.
Yeah.
The cop was like, "Hey, you better like watch who you talk to this about because I can put you away for the rest of your life." And he's like, "We can put something on you, and you're gonna be in prison for the rest of your life."
So the cops were selling drugs.
Yeah, so his dad was so freaked out about this, Alex Jones' dad, that he sells his dental practice when he gets when.
So wait, the cops
Alex
were
gets
selling
bailed out.
drugs?
Yeah, so he sells his dental practice. They moved to Austin, Texas. Literally, like by the end of that month, the police department in his hometown gets busted for like an underground drug ring, and like it actually like was true.
Shoot.
It was true. And so then Alex just like goes.
Now he's like, yeah. Well, I really wanted this to be like that time that you were followed by a van. You know?
It's like, I am Alex Jones.
And it's like, dude, like,
I'm going down Alex's
pretty
route.
sure a van was just your neighbor, you know?
Nah, I'm pretty sure it was the guy.
And you were like,
but
dude, my
whatever.
phone quit working. Our walkie-talkies went out. Like, walkie-talkies?
No, so he moves to Austin, and he's like, I'm not gonna play football. He's like, I'm gonna study history.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna figure this out. In his home, like he grew up, his parents weren't overly political, like obviously as a part of their life, but they didn't really talk about it with him.
Yeah.
That he didn't grow up in a home where his parents were these ultra conservative, crazy people like we see him today. But he got really into history, and he started seeing this overarching theme that like people in power would abuse their power and like take advantage of people and misinform people to get themselves more in power or
That
to move them
never
forward.
happens. Don't believe the media. Only believe me.
Okay, so he starts getting really fired up about this because he keeps seeing these themes, and so he just gets super passionate.
He's like, dude,
about,
I saw the president dealing drugs. All right.
and then he came to our school and was doing drug tests to the football team.
The president.
The president, what a hypocrite.
Let's take him down.
So he goes. He graduates high school, and he goes to Austin Community College for a semester and drops out. So strong start to his career.
Yeah. The president of the school was dealing drugs.
And so he gets involved with like Austin Public Radio, and he's like, I'm gonna go hang out there. And so he starts kind of interning
Starts his
there.
radio career.
Yeah, interning there, and then eventually the opportunity opened up for him to be like a sub host. And so whenever a host was sick or on vacation, he could host the show. And so his show was a news show, and so he was hosting news, and he would talk about news. And occasionally, he would kind of take the news stories and slip in like a little bit of conspiracy theories.
Yep.
And I guess like for the show, they were always like, "Hey, can you do less?
Hey,
of
can
that?"
you like, you know how you're doing like the whole like speculation and
Yeah.
you know that lady turned up dead and you were like, here's who I think murdered her. Can you like not do that?
Yeah. Could you do that? Could you take that and stop? So,
We love everything else you're doing, like the part where you read the script.
but whatever you don't,
But the rest of the stuff could probably we need to trim the fat. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, get all that out of there. And so.
And he was like, "Oh, you're part of it." Okay.
I saw you selling drugs. And so he goes, it gets really serious whenever the Oklahoma City bombing happened, because he was like one of the first people to really start being like, yeah, the government did that. And the public access radio was like, stop saying that.
Stop
on
saying
our
that
show.
on our radio.
Yeah. And so, but they didn't drop him after that incident. Like it was obviously an issue. They discussed it with them, but they held him on until 99. on the public access radio.
Did he have a job on 9/11? We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in 99,
I imagine that wasn't a great day for him.
So in 99,
It wasn't a great day for any of us. That's
True.
how.
True.
But I mean, like, if he had a public access radio job.
True. So in 99, he launches Infowars.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And so he starts building this decent online following.
Is that where does he pull his public radio access people?
Well,
Like he's like, hey guys, I'm getting fired here because they're definitely not a part of the conspiracy. But if you believe everything I'm saying, head on over to the internet. Now the internet is a new thing.
It's a new thing, not controlled by the liberals.
Infowars.net.
So he starts Infowars, and it gets a decent bit of traction. The thing with Infowars was he didn't have a boss anymore, or
Right.
an editor.
That's
or
what I was just
anybody to
thinking.
tell
Like,
him.
you know, someone
Like-
to tell him, like, hey, chill.
Yeah, and so he starts just going off the wall on Infowars, and so the public access radio kept coming back to him and be like, hey, the stuff you're saying on Infowars, stop that. And so
Yeah.
they kept like trying to redirect him. Eventually, they're like, we can't have you on the show anymore. So he gets fired
Because of the stuff he's saying on
because
Infowars.
of Infowars. By this
What
time,
kind of
though,
stuff was he talking about in 99? Do we know?
he was talking a lot about the Oklahoma City bombing and the moon landing, how it was falsified. Big fan of the New World Order. He had always been a big fan of the New World Order, saying that there's these puppeteers behind the government controlling everything. And so it was all those sorts
Too
of
bad he
things.
doesn't know it's a cricketeer. You said puppeteer earlier, and I wanted to make the joke, and then that time it was kind of impulse, like I had to. You know, it was like a sneeze. I was like, "This is a dumb thing, but I have to say it."
Why do you think we didn't let cricket into the States?
Why do you think we have baseball instead? It's a government conspiracy to cover up cricket players.
And so he gets fired from his role on public access. What's interesting though is Austin's this interesting place where like they have like these cult celebrities in Austin that like really aren't famous for like they shouldn't be.
Everywhere
but in
else?
Austin, like they're famous. So Alex was famous in Austin at this point
Got
for
it.
his public access radio show. Why people were so excited about him, I don't know.
Probably
It's a
because
good
like
show.
he would just say stuff, and like
Maybe,
I'm sure
maybe.
like my imagine.
My imagine.
You know that guy? Do you follow him on Instagram? That I sent you all of his videos. That he like, you
what's his
know.
name?
Oh man, it's his username is
trying to
I'm
remember.
asked to exist or something like that.
I'm
like
trying to remember some of the stuff he said.
right, but he'll like be playing with a Snickers bar, and he'll be like, hungry. So the way our bodies work, or he'll be play with like a rubber cricket, like a giant rubber cricket. I don't know why he has it,
Yeah.
but he'll be like, eating bugs. The reason I hate the military, you're
Yeah,
like,
and
whoa.
you're just like,
He
whoa,
just goes
what
on
are
this different
these-
rant. So,
Yeah.
but the reason I follow it is because he's saying insane things,
Totally insane.
that you're just like, what is this guy going to say next?
Yeah.
So I imagine that's
It's
probably
interesting.
how Alex builds a portion of
be.
his audience.
Could be.
But even more of the audience, there's some people who were listening, especially probably in Austin, Texas at the time, who were like, this guy is saying stuff that no one else is saying. You know? And there's almost kind of like and this is a symptom that has carried on through centuries. People want a strong man. People want like he's standing up for even if what they're saying isn't true, the confidence and the almost like the puzzle pieces they're putting together. They're like, this can't be coincidence.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, but if you put it in context, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think that definitely was a big part of it. You look at the turning point of his career though was in 2000 when he snuck into the Bohemian Grove. Have you heard of the Bohemian Grove?
yes.
This is actually very interesting. Here's one thing about Alex Jones before we jump into the Bohemian Grove that's kind of interesting is like there are some things he's talked about that are like, okay, like this is kind of
There's
strange.
some-
Like
there's some validity
there's
to
probably
that.
something
Sure.
going on here. There's a lot of things he talks about that you're like, bro, you're
Yeah, but if you hit
psycho.
1 in 10,
I know, and so I think that's what's going on. Is like he's got some stuff that's like is.
But other
there's
stuff
probably
is
some
like
truth to it.
okay, the official uniform of this cult is purple shirts. Here's a picture of this celebrity wearing a purple shirt. What do you say?
Yeah.
And you're like,
So
it just looks like he owns a purple shirt.
I think that's part though.
It looks like he's part of the cult, is what it looks like. You know, when you lay it out like that,
Yeah.
looks like our guy up there is part of the cult.
He is,
Look at that. Well, it's pink.
pink.
I don't know, dude.
Probably a part of the cult.
Pink and blue.
My point is,
You mix those
he's-
two colors together. We got cult leaders on our wall the whole time. We didn't even know it.
Gosh. My point is that people hear that and they're like, "Oh, he was right about that, so he's probably right about everything."
Right.
And I think that's another
That's
issue
the danger for sure.
Yeah.
If someone has one good idea and 100 bad ideas, we don't just go, they've got 101 good ideas.
Yeah.
Like, well,
yeah. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people have made with him. One of those times where he was sort of right. There's some things that were leaps, but he was right that this is weird. Like this is really weird. He snuck into this thing called the Bohemian Grove, which is a like outside of in Sonoma County, California. Okay. So outside of San Francisco, there's this place called the Bohemian Grove, which is like a camp owned by this thing called the Bohemian Club. And so the Bohemian Club is a private organization that was founded in 1872. That is seriously, it's like these high-level businessmen, these executives, high-level government officials, generals, and like previous presidents like George Bush, Bill Clinton. Club. Yeah, like these like high-profile people are all in this club.
Yeah.
Very, very large, high-level people. And they go to this social event that happens every couple of years, once a year. I'm not sure how regularly it happens, but they go out to the Bohemian Grove, and it's like this week-long camp where they do all these different activities together. And it kicks off...
Week-long camp?
Yeah, it's like a youth camp for very rich and
you
influential
just see
men.
Bill Clinton and George W. Bush climbing a rock wall together, doing an obstacle course.
George Bush. Can you do a Bush impersonation? He's like...
Did you have one?
I can't do it. That's what
he talks kind of slow and southern, and I don't know. I had to watch a video and work on it. That's not George Bush.
All right.
That's.
I'd have to. I'll have to work on it. Okay. Anyways,
that was rough. That was like, have you ever heard of Dickie's Barbecue?
Yeah.
That's what I imagine Dickie looked like. What you just did, where you're like. Like that's not.
That's what.
I'd have to watch a video
George
of
Bush
him.
talks like. His lip kind of hangs down.
So the reason I can do a decent Alex Jones is I watch a lot of Alex Jones videos.
I just picture George Bush telling Bill Clinton like, "Yo, let's go to the blob today. Will you blob me?
Blob me?
Blob me, Bill."
Bill's like, I have never blobbed anybody before. I'll tell you what. How about you put that in an email to my wife, and then we'll get back to you later.
But yeah, it opens. The opening night opens with a ceremony called the Cremation of Care.
Ew.
They've been doing this since the beginning in like 1870.
Anything that has the cremation in it.
Yeah. And so there's been rumors. It's a very secretive society.
Isn't it cremation that like? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'll just do it. Never mind. I was trying to, you know that stop motion Play-Doh movie. Isn't that a cremation Christmas?
Yeah. That's it.
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it, but that's where my brain went.
It was worth it. I thought it was really funny.
Oh man! Maybe if we can make a video of a stop motion of them jumping into a fire, and then we just call that cremation Christmas.
This is our cremation claymation.
That's our cremation claymation Christmas.
Claymation. This is our cremation claymation creation.
Okay, speaking of stop motion though, did you see that thing yesterday where these brothers spent 8 years making a stop motion of Toy Story 3?
No,
they legit did the entire hour-and-a-half movie
with the toys. I want to watch it.
They spent 8 years doing it, and
That's
honestly, it looks really good.
That's pretty incredible. 8 years. Wow. Yeah, remember when that's how we made animated movies? That's sad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for those. Anyways, so it was a very secretive society. For years, nobody knew what really happened in the Bohemian Grove unless you were in the Bohemian Club. Yeah. And nobody really knew for sure who was in it. Like there was references and people like when they would bring it up to like presidents or
it's a little Illuminati,
they dodged the question and stuff like that. It was just weird. Well, Alex Jones and one of his cameramen, I think his name was John, snuck in. They snuck in through the woods. There's actually 3 of them. It's kind of funny. Two of them snuck in through the woods. There's this one guy that he barely knew that he didn't really trust. I watched an interview with that third guy, and he's like, "Yeah, they were taking it very seriously. They were like in like these like ghillie suits, like sneaking through the woods trying to get in." And he's like, "I just walked up the driveway and waved at the security guard like I owned the place, and he just let me through."
Why do I feel like that's you and me though? You know, like you're like decked out, ready to crawl through a sewer. Right? You're trying to crawl up into their toilet and out. You're like, the toilet hole's too small, I can't fit, right? And you end up drowning in their sewage system. And I've just walked in.
Just walked right on it. Yeah, he said that at the beginning of the ceremony. He was standing there and there was some other like
And
businessman.
then there they are.
high-profile
Everyone's in
businessman.
suits. And then there's Alex Jones in a ghillie suit. Just like looking around. His shoulders are huge, man. He just like... he's like, he looks at the other guy in a ghillie suit. He's like, try to blend in.
Wait, and so he films the thing. Alex has like little his camera,
film
they both
goggles.
have- film goggles.
And just huge glasses. And someone's like, wait, are those prescription? And he looks at his friend, he's like, they can see us.
We've been spotted.
His other friend's just like, yeah, guys. Like,
Yeah, the guy who just walked right in, he said he was standing next to this high profile businessman, like he knew who he was. And he was like, this is your first Grove experience? And he's like, yeah. He's like, you're gonna love it. And like that's how that went. But Alex Jones and the other guy are like hiding in the bushes somewhere filming everything. And like he's like at one point I like look over and I found them and I see their eyes. They're like, and he's like, and I was sitting there. This guy's like, I was sitting there and I was just like, man, this is really weird. And he's like, they're over there like these guys are worshiping the devil right now.
dude, imagine if someone had a conspiracy about our podcast. And like we're not doing anything right. We're not doing anything wrong, you know? And so, like, if we're sitting here and we just look out the window and there's just like two guys in a ghillie suit just like
a camcorder.
yeah, and you're like, huh.
They got the little flap out camcorder screen and they're just like,
and they're like, dude, look at Tim's sweater. It's the color of flesh. That means he eats flesh.
But I will admit, like, this ceremony, the cremation of care, is very weird. So
it's got the word cremation in it. You don't even have to tell me what it is. It's literally go, all right.
It's
weird.
on this artificial lake, and so this old boat, like a rowboat, comes up, and it has this effigy. And they hand this effigy over to this group of dudes in these like monk robes, and they carry this effigy through the woods, and everybody like sings this song while they carry him through the woods.
Like a
yeah, and like everybody puts on the robes too as they and then they take it to the center of the woods where they get to this 60-foot tall stone owl statue. And it's just like this owl.
Can we Google image this?
Yeah, I can actually pull it up.
Well, you already did.
Yeah.
Actually, immediately when you go 60-foot tall owl, I go, that'll show up on Google Street View.
Oh, well, it's in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, they got a Street View car out there, though.
So here's
actually, Alex Jones just uploaded the footage to Google Maps, and it's the Street View. It's a little shaky. But at least the shadow's there for sure, right?
So you can see it. Here they are, and there's like the monks with the robes in front of it. And in front of it, there's this altar.
Whoa, what? Is this a drawing? This is like a drawing of it?
I'm not sure.
Is it a picture?
I'm not sure if there's a picture or a drawing. I can't tell.
What?
Isn't that crazy? And it's just in the middle of the woods, like the redwood forest, like Sonoma County. And what they do is they take the effigy out.
Is that an owl?
Yeah. And they set it at the base of the owl.
And they burn it.
And they burn it. They burn it right there. And everybody sings songs and celebrates. And like they burn it. Like there's another shot of it where it's like there's like these like pyrotechnics like shooting off of it. Like it's a crazy burning. And everybody sings while it happens.
So, I mean, okay. So let's just go through this again. All right. So imagine you're in high school.
Yeah.
The people that you're supposed to trust for your safety of your town are dealing drugs to the other high schoolers.
Yes.
So obviously, you now, at a very developmental age, you establish a mistrust for authority, right? Mm-hmm. And then you follow some pretty high-profile people into the woods. Here's what I like to believe. I like to believe that high-profile people are like, dude, I bet people followed us out here. We should like burn something in front of a giant owl. Like, what if that's just part of the, like, dude, they're wondering what we're doing out here. Let's give them a show, you know? Like, what is it? We each got to pitch in like $500,000 for a giant owl. All right, that's whatever.
Done.
Yeah, done. If like 5 of us do it, we can get this thing next week. Do they deliver that on Amazon Prime? And so, like, they just build this giant owl statue. They do this weird thing. And then those people run back to the town. They're like, the people are crying help, 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 you know? And they're just there for the rest of the weekend. You know, they hire Bono to come in and play some music, and that's
they just have a good old time.
Yeah, good. And some of them call him Bono. They're like, dude, I love Bono's music. You're like, well, wait. Like, you know, they're just normal adults, you know. But for the first night, they're not.
For the first night, that's how they're getting everybody off their trail.
Yeah.
So a couple people have snagged some pictures of this over the years.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of, though? That's like the Big Owl's just like the OTEV.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's OTEV.
That's a Big Brother reference for you people who aren't singing.
Here's their boat. That's a very culty looking.
That's
boat.
An old photo too.
Yeah, this is an old shot. I also just found.
Is that's a wait, flip it right. That's a real picture. That's not
a real picture. Yeah.
Who took this?
This is an old photo. I don't know. I think people have been sneaking in on it for a long time.
That's
I think
what
he
I'm
was
saying.
the first one to capture some video.
You know,
here's a photo.
A video.
Here's a photo of Nixon and Reagan at the Bohemian Club, which is interesting.
Who's that guy standing up in the middle?
I have no idea.
Is it Johnny Carson?
I think that's Bahamas. The Bohemian Club.
No, I understood what you were saying. I just really didn't like it.
So, anyways,
that's weird.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. Like a lot of people have gotten photos. A lot of people have like talked about what they saw there. But I'm pretty sure that Alex Jones was the first one to get video footage of what was happening.
Okay, but here's what I'm thinking though. You know, the giant owl is weird. Never mind. There's no way to justify it.
Yeah, it's odd.
I was gonna say, like, you know how the beginning of Evangel, our freshman year, where the drum line marches and then everyone follows. We have those big torches.
Yep.
And they all follow, and then we all just worship on the. You know, if you're not a worshiper,
it seems weird.
2,000 students march,
carrying
and then
fire
all of a sudden we're singing songs.
And lighting this thing. Yeah, it's
like,
weird.
It seems a little weird.
And
there's no giant owls.
The way they've like publicized the reason for it, the idea of the cremation of care is all these influential people who have probably pretty high stress jobs coming together for a week to just de-stress and get away from it all. And so it starts with them burning all their cares at the altar. And so they're just letting everything that stresses them burn, and then they're not carrying it with them for the rest of the week. And so,
but none of that explains the boat or the owl.
Yeah.
Because we did that in high school. We did that where we just we just nailed a little piece of paper to a cross.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they never mind.
The other guy who went in that wasn't crazy. He went in and he says in his interview, he's like, yeah, it was strange because Alex and the other guy, I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's like, Alex and the other guy were freaking out. They were like, don't get spotted by the cameras. There's cameras all over the place. And he's like, where are the cameras? And they're like, Alex was like, the owls. And I guess, and this is weird. I guess there's stuffed owls in all the trees all over the place. There's these stuffed owls. And he's like,
Alex knew
those
that.
are hidden cameras. Those are hidden cameras. And the owls they're watching you. And the guy in the interview was like, I think it was just an owl sanctuary, and they just really liked the owls. And so whenever an owl died, they just stuffed it and put it back in the trees. And he's like, I think that's why they have the statue, is because it's an owl sanctuary. And it's
super weird.
Still very weird.
Yeah.
Still really weird. And that guy who was like pretty like rational about the whole thing. He's like, I'm not gonna lie, it was weird. He's like, and you could tell like. It wasn't like it was just like, oh, this is just a celebration. Like we're just joking around. It's like they took it serious and they
they were into it.
They were into it, and he's like,
right.
and it was like it was a like borderline spiritual moment for some of the people there. Like they were feeling that and like on another level. And he's like, it was odd. And so Alex puts out this documentary about the Bohemian Club,
obviously,
and that footage is in it. And so then that's when Infowars hits this whole new level.
Wait, so they have video footage?
Mm-hmm. They have a whole documentary all about the Bohemian Club.
We
and
should
there's
watch
video
it.
footage in that documentary from when he infiltrated the Bohemian Club. Infiltrate, that's the word he uses.
Over and over, too. He's like, yeah, we infiltrated the club, during our infiltration. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay.
And so it's like, well, I mean, he found something that was weird.
Kind of weird, yeah.
He jumps to a lot of conclusions about it that
obviously
he clearly could not from what he found.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It was very weird what he encountered there. And so after that, his documentary comes out and he kind of blows up. and Infowars kind of blows up, but not like to the level that it got to now.
Sure.
It took a long time for that to happen, but it became like this slow, steady growth. I remember hearing about it when I was in my conspiracy.
Yeah, you were an
days.
Infowars guy.
I was not an Infowars guy.
You were an Info Warrior for a second there.
I was never into Infowars. I always thought Alex Jones was dumb when I was in the conspiracy theorist, like my phase. I was more into. Yeah, I had a couple
that
other
you've
outlets
clearly grown out of.
that I'm clearly not into anymore. There was a couple more outlets that I was more interested in than Infowars, but occasionally I would check in on and see what he was talking about.
What were the ones you were checking?
I don't remember. Oh, like the platforms that I was checking.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't.
You had them saved as your tabs, right?
I'm trying to remember what one of them was.
Did you get viruses on your computer all the time?
Vigilant Citizen. Vigilant Citizen was my
that
go-to.
makes sense.
Vigilant Citizen, yeah. I really liked them. Anyways, that's not important.
Anyways, I'm pretty embarrassed about that. It's part of my testimony. You can check it out on the website of my church that I'm on staff at. So
I was going to say...
It's called JamesRiver2.0.com.
They had a part of the site called Sinister Sites, and it was like locations in the world that were like
we talked
super
about that before.
sketchy. And the Denver airport was one of them, and so
that's why. Yeah, it's come
I
up
did
on there.
reconnaissance a lot.
For them.
For them. Anyways.
I went to the Denver airport in a ghillie suit. Made it through security. Apparently, they don't care about that. And you can get on a plane in a ghillie suit, just so you know.
Yeah, and they're just like,
they're just like, this is weird, but
like,
you
you're
know,
a weird person, is what they say.
TSA is like, does he have a gun? Whatever.
And so he starts his own radio show. He gets all the equipment to put it in his own house. He's got his own studio in his house, and he actually like does a really good job.
Is the Infowars studio in his house?
I don't think it is anymore.
Okay.
But at the time it was, and he actually started bringing in
like pretty
all
high
these
profile
affiliates.
Yeah.
And so he was on like 100 AM and FM radio stations across the nation. Like he was growing and getting really, really big. And here's what's really interesting. I found this on Rolling Stone magazine. I don't know if this should be a reputable source or not. I learned a lot about the Rolling Stones from Rolling Stone magazine. I'm sorry, that was dumb. Should we just stop here?
Wait, do you want to go home?
Yeah, I regret that.
Okay, from the Rolling Stone magazine.
Yeah, this is interesting, and this is like
I learned a lot about stones that roll from that magazine.
okay. Should I roll?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Anyways, this is weird.
Will you please name your child like
Rolling,
Rolling maybe?
Rolling. Yeah, we named her after Harry Potter. Rolling Stone.
Harry Potter?
We
named her after Harry Potter.
Okay, shut up.
Okay. Done.
So this is very interesting. Apparently, just before 9/11, on July 25th,
2001?
2001, July 25th, 2001, Alex Jones came on screen, on camera, and he was like telling his watchers, he's like, please, call Congress, tell them we know that they're plotting terrorism against the American people. Tell them we know what they're planning at the World Trade Center. He like said it by name, and he's like, tell them we won't stand for it. And so then when 9/11 actually happened, day of, he was there saying the government did this. And he had the video footage up, loses all of his affiliates. Every station he was connected to loses all of them. He like immediately lost his like credibility on anything. And so all of a sudden he went from like kind of like trending upwards to completely like radio silence. Like couldn't get on the radio, couldn't get public broadcast. Like
because he's going after it.
Yeah, and he even said on that July 25th report, he said that what they want to do is they want to teach the American public that Bin Laden's the boogeyman, and we need to take him down. And he said that before, and so I don't know a lot about that. I didn't get a chance to look a lot into that, but it's weird.
Rolling Stone reported that?
Rolling Stone reported it.
Okay.
So
Vigilant Citizen didn't report that.
Vigilant Citizen did not report that. And so he goes in this. He becomes a giant 9/11 was an inside job.
Right.
Thing. And so if you ever heard someone say that, it was Alex Jones's fault. Like he's the one who coined that term and went down that. He wrote like all these like articles on it. He did a couple documentaries on it long before it became like a big thing. Like in like 2002 when everybody was like still not really
Yeah.
willing to talk
People
about.
weren't talking about 9/11. Yeah.
He was doing the documentaries about it being faked or like an inside job, you know? And so he starts to lose everything because everybody wasn't interested in broadcasting this anymore.
Right.
But over time, that changes, and then conspiracy theorists started finding everything he was saying, and he started to grow again, but as an independent. And so he was never on the radio anymore. The mainstream media as a whole just totally like
Blacklisted him.
yeah, like they weren't going to talk about him. They weren't going to address him at all until relatively recently.
Yeah.
He started making it into the mainstream.
I would
again.
say like probably what 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
He started rolling in again.
He started rolling back in again. But this time it's really interesting. This time he rolls in, and it's almost like a defamation campaign. Like any mainstream news sources bring him on kind of to make fun of him almost and be like, "You're ridiculous." Like
interesting.
What is
but he was taking it because he can get on. Because he can get on mainstream.
And so he was getting on all this mainstream media, and so he's blown up and blown up and blown up since like probably about 2013. It's gone from where he took that big dip in the mid 2000s, and now it's a whole new level of where he's at. He actually has. Let me see. Rolling Stone gave a number in here too. I don't know. I can't find it in this article, but they did. He has a larger audience than oh gosh, I can't find it, but he's got a larger audience, I know, than The Economist and Newsweek. So he's got a huge group of people. He has like a lot of documentaries that have been seen by over 50 million people, like huge viewership now. Like he's getting to the multiple millions of viewerships, making insane amount of money off of all of this, like just absolutely insane. In one interview, they asked him how much money he was making off this. He says, "We spend about $45 million a year." And he was like, so they were like, "Well, how much are you making off of that?" And he was like, "Well, we put most of it back into what we're doing." I don't know if any of that's true.
Right.
But that's what he's saying. But we do know that two-thirds of his business comes from his online store.
Yeah, which is like, prepper material.
Yeah, well, his online store is just ridiculous is what it is. There's what you would expect is the prepper stuff.
Right.
You would expect a lot of the prepper stuff. You would expect some like gear, like the shirts and the
merchandise stuff like that.
Yeah, he started the Hillary for Prison thing. Like that was from him. And so you would expect all that. But what's really interesting to me is he's got some other stuff that's just like, why would anybody buy this from Alex Jones? He's got toothpaste. He's got
Alex Jones toothpaste
Alex
or just
Jones?
Toothpaste?
No, he's just got toothpaste.
Just
he's got toothpaste. $7.
Colgate?
$7. Super blue toothpaste. It's fluoride free, so you're not getting the fluoride, so they can't mind control you.
Yep.
He's got all these. He's got like essential oils, like all these just
Obviously.
different vitamins and stuff like that. All the prepper material. He's got male enhancement. He has like so much stuff that you're like fish oil, vitamins. Like why? Who's
And also, let's say one of your friends enjoys one of your products that you have in your house.
Yeah.
And they go, "Where'd you get that?" Like you have to say Infowars.com.
Infowars. It's Alex Jones. Stuff.
It's some people are going to Target and getting the whole Chrissy Teigen brand. Some people are out here rocking the Alex Jones brand. That's so odd.
Here's my favorite thing that he sells. He has his own brand of coffee called Wake Up America.
Oh, gosh. Dude, my roommate would buy that for sure.
His product guy, his product supervisor is a genius.
Wake Up America, that's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Wake Up America. It's so good. So good. But yeah, apparently they're making a ton of money off their store. And if you ever watch his videos, all of it is a pitch for the store. Everything.
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
Everything he does. It's like he goes on this like 20-minute rant, and he's like, and the best thing you could do is buy our toothpaste. He's like, that will free you from what the government's trying to do to you.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got it right here. Look,
The whole the thing that he's probably most famous for among people who are making fun of him is the whole they're turning the frogs gay. They're like doing whatever, they're putting stuff in the water. And if you want to protect yourself from it, you need to buy this filtered water from our website.
Yep. And so he's got
the whole thing is a pitch.
His thing is covered in water filters. His thing is covered in like all sorts of survival stuff. There's a ton of survival stuff. Like it's really interesting.
Are you afraid of what the government's putting in your water? Get our infiltration system.
That's really good.
Infiltered.
Infiltered. Oh gosh, that's good. And then he's got a lot of books and a lot of documentaries.
The guy hates owls, though. Just so you know,
owls.
dude, that'd be really funny if like we just like figured out a way to flood his front yard with like owl statues.
Owl statues.
He comes home and whatever. Like, what do you think he drives? He drives like a Tesla for sure, right?
For sure.
Like he's got a lot of money. And he comes and pulls in and it just stops and looks. And then, like, never returns to his house again. He just leaves.
Yeah, and
he's got to have like a fortress, you know. Like he thinks
sure.
that he can't have a cell phone, right?
Maybe.
Or at least like 5 cell phones. He can't have one cell phone. He's either got 0 or 10. You know,
0 or 10.
There's no. What was the thing you found out today that excited you?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay,
we'll get to that. Before we do, I want to talk about Alex Jones and a couple of his relationships that really interest me. One, Alex Jones has apparently been like really close friends with Joe Rogan since like 92.
Yeah, since 92. Yeah, I did not know.
Long before Alex Jones was famous.
Yeah, but he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast a lot.
A bunch. Apparently they're like good friends.
That's kind of how he's still relevant right now. Is the only things he's relevant for is, but it doesn't seem like on Joe Rogan's podcast that Joe Rogan's like making fun of him though. And that's where it's kind of like,
no, because Joe and him are friends. Like they go back to like 92.
Joe's like, yeah, dude, I believe all this stuff.
He's like, yeah, we're close, we're tight.
Yeah. I mean, Joe's taken a few good hits. Before, you know.
Joe's into some conspiracy theories,
right?
And so, but apparently, him and Alex are pretty tight friends, which is so odd to me. I don't know where that came from. How does that happen? How does Joe Rogan and Alex Jones become friends before Alex Jones is as famous as he is now? Like I can see it now where Joe Rogan brings him on the podcast. It's like, I love this guy. But in 92, when Jones was, that was like right after he graduated high school. Like he was just getting into public broadcast.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, what were they doing in 92? What
was Joe Rogan doing? Was Joe Rogan famous yet? Because Fear Factor didn't start long after that, right?
I don't know if Fear Factor is what really made him famous, though.
Really? I mean, he was into comedy before.
He was doing stand-up already.
Was he doing UFC?
No.
Yet? Oh, he was on News Radio.
So maybe they're radio buddies.
No, but News Radio, I don't think News Radio, hold on. News Radio was a TV series, though. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but to get into that, you got to be doing radio jobs.
No, it was a sitcom about radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe Rogan was on that.
Joe Rogan was probably in one episode of that.
No, he was on the whole series.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Maybe you should go back and watch it.
It's probably bad.
It's probably bad. Yeah, so he was doing stand-up then. He was already doing stand-up then. But anyways, we'll get to this. This is interesting. We'll talk about another relationship.
So him and Joe Rogan have been friends for a while before it was like, hey, let's bring that guy on the podcast because it's funny.
Yeah. Exactly.
Interesting.
And then another interesting relationship that Alex Jones has is Donald Trump. Him and Donald Trump are apparently like pretty tight, which makes sense.
That makes sense.
You can see that. And I
feel like I knew that one.
According to Alex Jones, which I don't know if you can believe this, according to Alex Jones, right after the election, Trump called him and thanked him for winning him the election.
I believe it.
It is interesting. You look at a lot of Trump's campaign speeches.
Yep.
Where like he gets like have you seen?
You imagine the two strong men want to be together?
Have you seen this thing?
They want to be together
in Trump's speeches where he'll say this just hit the news. It's all over the place. Everybody's
it's not. It's Infowars.
It's Infowars. It's always
for
Infowars.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's actually really interesting because like you look at it and I was watching this video that was like time stamping it. It's like here's his press conference. Here's that article that came out an hour before that.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And
like,
so much of it gets debunked, but like, you know, if you've got, I don't know, if you believe in a deep state and this whole like conspiracy stuff, then that relationship makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes.
I imagine that Donald Trump was probably at the owl meeting.
Mm-hmm. Probably, he was the other guy.
Donald Trump is the owl. It's what like he's just out there like, who. And they're like, that's the chant. This is Who?
But you look at a lot of, honestly, it's very interesting
man.
because at that time, Alex Jones had a gigantic following. Like, it was probably the peak for him. He had this
What
gigantic
time?
following during the presidential campaign
2016.
for Trump. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he had a huge following.
And then he gets his Twitter account suspended.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about that?
No.
Oh.
But
Yeah, he's
yes,
suspended
that happened.
everything. He's
That
got no
happened.
internet
Yeah,
presence.
he's not allowed.
All he has is Infowars.
Which is why he started a new news site called News Wars that he can have accounts on.
Where did he get that
Twitter.
from?
I don't know. It's very interesting. He has
News
another one.
Wars?
He has another one that
He's like, you know what they're not going to think? All right, listen, so they banned my account. They banned Infowars. All right, let's start a new account called News Wars. And like, dude, what's
never
with
see
you and the wars thing? He's like, it's a fight. You got to fight you got to show up for the battle.
he has another one. He has another one called Prison Planet. That makes me think of Pizza Planet.
I know, that's literally what I thought. You could brand on it. You could Prison Planet.
Prison Planet. Hey, welcome to Prison
And
Planet.
all those little, like, ooh things.
Claw. He doesn't even have to change that. He's like, it's literally.
That's what he's branding
he
off
believes
of.
the claw.
Yeah, he's like, actually, here's what the thing about that. Toy Story branded on real aliens. All right? Those are what they really look like. Man.
But yeah, so there's a lot of pretty decent evidence that shows that Alex Jones played a pretty major role in helping Donald Trump win the election. Because
Sure.
Hillary Clinton's defamation campaign was started by Alex Jones. The
Right.
whole like
Emails,
her need to be
deleted
prison.
things,
And,
yeah, the
that was
whole-
all Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And that was huge for the election.
Right.
That was huge.
Right.
And so
Well, and anytime you can pull in people on this fringe, and if you can create mistrust,
Yep.
you know, then it's a lot easier to be like, okay, you know, you can't trust either of us. Who do you trust more?
Yeah.
At that point,
Yeah.
you know, it's pretty wild how the media and social media is playing into.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so he got a lot of people
Not at all terrifying. I'm
really
fine.
fired up. I'm fine. He got people really, really fired up about it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, that's the other thing that like Strong Opinions does. That's how I grew my Instagram a few years ago. If you followed me since before 10,000 people, I branded on this whole like how much I hate Arby's. You know, and honestly, truthfully, I don't really care that much. But what happens is once you establish like I am against that,
Yeah.
then the people who are even slightly against it are like, yeah, I can see your passion for it. But the people who are even slightly for it become that much more passionate about it. Because when you go to extreme, it pushes anybody from the middle to the extreme as well. And I think that's how Infowars grows, is that it's sensationalism.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like this is interesting stuff to think about or to ponder or to question. It's like, this is stuff that is dangerous to you right now, and you have to get to the bottom of it. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's that stuff where you see the articles. It's like this is irrefutable proof, 100%.
Right.
Like, you know it, and it's like people just buy it.
Yeah.
They don't even like fact.
They
check
buy
it.
the strong man confidence. Con man. Confidence man. That's what it stands for.
Yep. So very very interesting there. I think he played a pretty big role.
For sure. I agree.
He did. I don't know if him and Trump are really that close. Trump's been on the show before the presidency, so I think he played a role. So I think
Joe Rogan's going to be the next president because
if he
of Alex Jones.
If he is, then we know for a fact.
For a fact that Alex Jones, in his attempt to take down the puppeteers, became the puppeteer. That's what's wild, you know? He became the person.
That's funny. And so now I want to kind of pivot for a second and talk about, okay, what's the deal with Alex Jones? A couple years ago, he got a divorce.
Yeah.
In 2015.
And his wife came out publicly about how insane he is.
Yeah. And it was really sad because he actually got custody at the very beginning because he misled the courts. And so she came back and she just now got custody back because she was able to prove that this man's an insane person. But she talked all about how just crazy he is. And in his defense, in this second attempt for her to get custody, his attorney came out and his attorney was like, hey, Alex Jones isn't crazy. He isn't like this. The person that you see on his radio show on Infowars, it's all a character. It's an act. It's just for the show. And Alex in the courtroom blows up. And it's like, it's not an act. This is real. This is who I am. And like,
oh my gosh.
and so like,
The attorney's like, dude, just go with this. It's going to keep it so you can see your kids. And he's like, I can't do it, even for my children. Like,
they asked him, this is totally different. They asked him, they were like, hey, what are your kids' birthdays? And he couldn't remember. And his excuse was because he said, I had a big bowl of chili before I got here. They're like, how do you not know your kids' birthdays? He's like, well, I had a big bowl of chili before I walked in.
Is that why you can't remember my birthday?
Yeah, I'm always eating
like,
chili.
dude, I had a big bowl of chili before I got here, honestly. Dude, I woke up this morning, I was like, man, I got a really important court date. You know what I got to eat for breakfast? A big bowl of chili.
So I don't remember.
Available on my website. Did you forget your anniversary? Here's a solution. Go buy a big bowl of chili on my website. Eat it, the whole thing. And then just say, I had a big bowl of chili.
I had a big bowl of chili. So yeah, I think there's the fact that his attorney came out and said that. I mean, he could have been trying to defend him, but I don't think he would have made that up.
I don't think that. You don't think the attorney would have made that up?
I don't think the attorney would have just made that up.
Come on.
I think there's got to be some truth to the fact that.
But
Alex
then for
Jones
Alex
is
to
faking that character.
to double down on it and be like, no, this is real in the courtroom.
I think he's not. I think he's trying not to lose that character. Because here's what I noticed. Here's what you can tell. Alex Jones is making a lot of money off of this character. If
That's true.
If this is a character,
If the character goes away, so does his bank account.
Yeah, he loses all of this. And so if he really doesn't know his kids' birthdays, he doesn't care if he wins that court like appeal. He cares if he keeps his fortune, if that's true. And so I could see him trying to dodge that and be like, I'll give up the kids so that way I can stay rich, you know? And I think there's, I don't know, like you look at the crap that he does, the things that he says, it's like there's no way someone could be that far off the rails. It's like, if you buy a couple of these conspiracies, I'm like, yeah, okay. But it's like the stuff that he said, like he sees some guy's eyes like twitch a little bit and he's like, that person's a lizard. He's like, they're a lizard. And he just goes insane. And it's like, like, come on. Like,
dude, I don't know, man.
I don't know, maybe. Like, I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm saying it's hard for me to believe
Possible.
that he believes all of that.
Yeah.
And I think it's much more believable that it's a character because like you said, all of it is a sales pitch. Like he goes on his big rants.
He is making a lot of money off this.
Buy this will get you away from whatever this is. And it's got me thinking. I've been this is a very weird sidebar, but I've been thinking about guys like Trump, and then even looking at like certain bands. So like my favorite band, Blink-182.
The
honestly,
guitarist.
I will admit, they're not great musicians. Like they can sing okay, they can make good music, but they're nothing special, is what I'll say.
It's about the hype of punk.
Yeah, it's because Mark and Tom are great frontmen. They're great at hyping up a crowd, great at getting the media involvement, great at just getting people excited. I think there's something to certain people that can grasp that and get the excitement going for people. You know, I think about Fall Out Boy, another punk band. Pete Wentz wasn't the frontman, but he was the one who was getting everybody excited. He was the famous one in the band.
Right.
And so it's like...
I couldn't name one other Fall Out Boy.
Fall is the other one. His name's Fall.
Fallen Oats.
Fallen Oats. But Pete Wentz became the famous one because he was the charismatic one, the one that people actually cared about and were interested in.
Sure.
It wasn't always... It showed that it's like, oh, it's not just the fact that you're the singer. It's who you are,
right,
on stage and off stage and stuff like that people are interested in. I think that's a big reason why Trump won the election, because he was able to create this character and have this like charisma to him. And it's like nothing he said anything
made sense
ever.
Yeah.
But he created this.
That's what I'm saying.
That
I think that people crave certainty and people crave a strong man, and that's always been the case.
Yeah,
throughout history, that's the case. Is this strong leader who, even if they're not really saying anything, they are saying, "I will lead you out of this."
Yeah.
And I think people crave that, and that's how people end up in toxic church cultures as well, with these pastors who are just like, the world's against us and this whole thing, and it's like that's not healthy either.
Yeah,
but people crave certainty, and they go, well, if I'm following that guy, he seems so sure that he can't be wrong.
Yeah. It's people who have that understanding of how to like lead people and like capture their their minds and get them to follow them, no matter what they say. And I think Alex has that persona to him. He understands that, and I think there's a high possibility. Like, I think some people have that just naturally. I think there's people who,
in the Bible it calls it tickling ears.
Yeah, I think there's people who can do that naturally and don't really recognize that they're doing it.
Sure.
But I think there's people who know that, and they like the snake oil plays me on. Like this is what he's doing. He's selling literally fish oils. And it's like this has no like the stuff he's selling. I would doubt is FDA approved. I would doubt there's any value to it. You know, like. You know, and it's like, but people are buying it. And
he called the FDA office, like just straight up called, and they were like, "Hello." He's like, "This is Alex Jones," and they just hung up. He was like, "I'm gonna sell it anyway."
But yeah, it's crazy that people are buying like this is Brain Force Plus, $30. What the heck? What?
I mean, and that's but we see those people fall away after a while. Like, you'll see these people, build up huge followings, and then 10 years from now aren't there because they didn't have any substance to back that up. They didn't have anywhere they were actually going.
Yeah, true.
And so that's...
But Alex Jones hasn't fallen off. He's still doing well.
But he's still making up conspiracies.
True.
He's making up new conspiracies to be... Sowing seeds of doubt and of mistrust is a great way to keep people... Which that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't understand most about a lot of stuff that's happened in the past few years is like these people who for decades have been crying propaganda are just eating up propaganda.
Yeah. I think it's that's fair. So Alex could be faking it all.
Okay,
that's my point. He could be faking it all. This could be serious. This could be real. Like, he could believe all of this. He could believe that Brain Force Plus is important because there is a war for your mind and you need to fight that war.
Is it a vitamin?
It's a vitamin. Yep.
Yeah, you take it every day?
Yep.
Brain Force?
Brain Force Plus.
The plus is what makes me confident to put it in my body.
Yeah, there's hundreds of these things on his website.
Yeah, for sure.
Hundreds of these things. And water purifiers and whatever. There's just so much stuff. It's like he could believe all of this. If you like,
or he could just be selling product.
And he could. I also think it's possible that that experience with those cops in his hometown and that experience at the Bohemian Grove has I think that's altered his. I really do think at a developmental age he saw people in authority abusing their authority. Yeah.
And I do think that same way that people who come out of abusive situations identify that in situations that's not reality.
Yeah.
But that's how their brain pattern has been established is to you can't trust people in authority.
Yep.
And here's why.
Yeah.
And so when you see a shred of something that goes, that could be sketchy, I think it's entirely possible that this guy totally runs with it.
Yeah, I think it could be too.
Was that the thing that was that you figured out on the way here?
No, that's totally different.
Okay.
So those are two possibilities of the real story of Alex Jones. Here's another possibility of the real story of Alex Jones. The real story, the other possibility, is that Alex Jones is
He's
really
a lizard person.
Comedian Bill Hicks.
Wait, what?
I found this right when we got here. Literally sat down, was setting up. I was looking for a picture of him, and I found this story.
What?
On a website called worldtruth.tv. And if you Google it, there's tons of websites that have this. Like, it's huge.
Alex
like,
Jones is BillHicks.com?
Yeah, well, maybe.
Wait, who's Bill Hicks?
Bill Hicks was a comedian in like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Probably not 70s, 80s, 90s.
Let's see
Late
the side
70s,
by side.
80s, 90s. And he was a stand-up comedian. And apparently his comedy was very conspiracy theory-ish comedy.
Okay.
Did a lot of conspiracy theory type comedies. But in 94, Bill Hicks died, like abruptly. He got cancer and he died. Sad story. And then a few years later, Alex Jones looks a lot different. Like, you look at some early photos of Alex Jones. Let me see if I can find this early photo of Alex Jones. He looks like a different person, honestly. He kind of does. And then, here's a comparison. Well, here, let me just get Alex Jones, 90s. You see an early picture of Alex Jones, and he looks like. Honestly, it's not surprising when you see this photo of him.
Okay.
Because he does this a lot still. But there's just like a photo of him as like this thin, fit.
Sure, he used
dude.
to be very
Yeah. And here's him carving a pumpkin.
That's the picture I want. Actually, can you send it to me? I need a new phone background. Oh, okay. So wait. What is this one of his like Infowars shows?
No, this is actually. I think this is him on public access TV. He was carving a pumpkin for Halloween.
I see a picture of Bill Hicks.
Yeah, and so Bill Hicks, the comedian, supposedly looks a lot like him. And the connection that they're finding is, this is a GIF. They're showing all the like places where their face lines up. The connection that they're finding is their faces line up, but apparently there is like 2 moles that Bill Hicks had on his neck right here that Alex Jones has after 97, which is interesting. But they can't find anything of him having these 2 moles before then.
I mean, I'm looking at this picture.
They line up, don't they?
That's
they
a little.
And here's something else that's interesting. So I gotta find the year. In the early 2000s,
Right now, we're doing exactly what we're making fun of Alex Jones for doing. As we're sitting here, we're looking at this and we're going, I don't know, that adds up, honestly. And then, for the next 2 months, anytime I encounter anybody new, I'm going to tell them that Alex Jones is Bill Hicks.
Alex Jones is Bill Hicks.
And I'm going to treat it like fact, even though...
Who is Bill Hicks?
They'll be like, wait, what? And I'll be like, the comedian died in 1994. Keep up, okay?
So Bill Hicks, here's what's interesting about Bill Hicks. A little while before he died, he got really passionate about the Branch Davidian Church in Waco, Texas. I don't know if you know who that is, but in the mid-'90s, that was the church that built this compound outside of Texas.
Yeah.
And there was like this 30-day shootout, basically standoff, and it ended in I think it was 80 people died. It was nuts. Bill Hicks was very passionate about the Branch Davidian Church and their compound and stuff, and he visited a lot, and he left comedy, started being a reporter, reporting on what was going on there, and that the ATF was the government.
They were like, how are you getting in
down?
here? And he was like, dude, I literally just drove up to the gate and act like I own the place.
My buddy Alex is still trying to get through the Achilles suit.
They're like, wait, who's Alex? He's like, oh.
But here's what the crazy thing is. In 98, the year after Alex Jones changed, which is interesting. If you look at, there's these pictures where Alex Jones...
so Alex Jones, in this theory, Alex Jones is a real separate person.
Yeah.
What happened to the real Alex Jones?
They don't know. So here, let me show you this.
See, now I'm out on it.
Here, let me show you this.
It has always been a character, that's one thing, but if this guy killed another person...
So here is Alex Jones at the start of 97 versus Alex Jones at the end of 97. And he put on 60 pounds and aged about 10 years over the course of that 1 year.
Okay, so I just want to... Here's the thing. So what we're talking about is conspiracy people, and the title of the page, the article that you're reading, is worldtruth.tv, not even .com. .tv, and the title of this article.
Look. Hold on.
Shush. This article includes videos that are no longer available on YouTube, and this top one says, "Sorry, this video does not exist." And then the title of this, very poorly, worldtruth.tv does not even look like a legit logo, says irrefutable proof that Alex Jones is really Bill Hicks.
Look, I'm not saying you should believe this. I'm just saying this is one of the possibilities. And I'm not done, though. Let me tell you more.
So there's plastic surgery involved.
It does say there's plastic surgery. I don't know about that. I think it could. I don't know. They do look a lot similar. But here's one thing that I thought about during the recording of this podcast. Could this be why Joe Rogan and Alex Jones go so far back? Was from when they were doing stand-up together when he was Bill Hicks?
So you think that for that theory to work, I just want to confirm some details here. You think that Joe Rogan is in on this cover-up, right? And then probably had to have helped get rid of the real Alex Jones.
Well, I mean,
so Bill Hicks fakes his death with cancer, right? And then and then waits 3 years.
Yep.
To become Alex Jones.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the theory. The theory is that the CIA.
Oh my gosh.
The CIA offed Alex Jones and made Bill Hicks be the new Alex Jones because they needed somebody to be very, very ridiculous,
so they could hide under the radar.
Hide things under the radar, and be like, if anything comes up, Alex Jones is going to pick it up, and Alex Jones is going to have a reputation for just being a crazy person, and so nobody's going to trust anything if Alex Jones is talking about it. And that's the theory.
All right. Well, this turned weird, didn't it?
I'm not saying I believe it.
I just think that in covering how insane we think a conspiracy person is, you can't also introduce a conspiracy theory. All right? Like, we can't spend an hour talking about how discrediting someone who is into these conspiracy theories and then spend the last 15 minutes introducing a new conspiracy theory. I don't think that form of I don't think we definitely didn't go to radio school or podcast class, pod class. You know, we definitely didn't do any of that. But I imagine 101 is don't spend an hour discrediting something that you're going to spend the 15 minutes doing. Like that's people are going to listen to this episode and be like, you know what? They had 15 minutes of good ideas and an hour of bad ideas. So that means the whole thing was a good idea.
Exactly.
You know what I think?
What?
I think that...
What?
I think that you are the real Alex Jones. All right? Because what year were you born?
94.
And what year did Bill Hicks die?
94.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a conspiracy.
You could be right.
If you want to protect yourself from the horrors that is Tim Stone and the Things I Learned Last Night podcast, go to TILLN.com/survival guild. Survival gear. Actually, go to any of those domains. It'll get you there.
They'll all get you there. We bought them all.
And buy our vitamins. Now listen. If you buy the TILLN vitamins, they're gonna look like they're gonna look like the Flintstones multivitamins. All right, don't let that fool you. They're our own vitamins.
We do that. We do that to trick the government, the CIA.
They're gonna come in a Ziploc bag. All right, now is that approved by the FDA? No,
absolutely not.
Is it disapproved by the FDA? No.
Yes.
Have we got a cease and desist letter from the FDA?
100%.
We've got multiple, all right?
Can they stop us? No.
Do we believe that the FDA is actually FDR? All right? Disguise. Because do we have proof?
We don't have any real proof that the FDA is not actually FDR.
Here's what I think the FDA is a bunch of owls, all right? They're a bunch of owls.
Show me the FDA's birth certificate and then I'll believe it.
You can look at the FDA face structure compared to the FDR face structure. Now, they're nothing alike, but plastic surgery is pretty advanced. Absolutely different. You'll notice the lack of similarity here.
Oh, my God.
It's intentional to mislead us. All right, is there anything else?
One thing I will say about that website with that article, the
worldtruth.tv.
Yeah, I was reading that article, and it was cracking me up.
One thing I will say about World Truth TV is that it didn't take long for me to build it. Like, okay, Tim.
It didn't take me long to make it up. No, they in the article, about halfway through, they're talking about the teeth structure and how they have very similar teeth structure. And he's like, here's one thing that we know that's a fact. And he's like, teeth are a better identifier of people than DNA. And he's like, my wife, he's like, I was a police officer and my wife took a course in college about forensic science. We know DNA is not as good as teeth structure. And I was like, yeah, I believe your credibility. You're credible. Your one course of forensic science and your time as a drug dealing police officer tells me.
Drug dealing police officer.
That you know.
Yeah, I was a police officer, and my wife was one of the students I sold drugs to, okay? Now, she's 10 years younger, okay, but don't listen to that, okay?
Yep. Here's so yeah, that's about all I have to say about Alex Jones. Before we do though, I feel like it would be warranted to say Alex Jones is a madman, absolute psychopath. If you look at Alex Jones and what he does and support him, I recommend you stop. That's all I have to say. Here's what we probably should say. You're like kind of smiling, but
no, because you're kind of smiling. I didn't know where you're going.
No,
hey, before we end, though,
have,
yeah, go ahead.
What do you want to say?
No, I just want to let you know I have an event that I got to tell people about before we end. So don't end it.
Okay, I won't end it.
Okay,
good.
Hey, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like that, please subscribe to this channel or check out one of our highlights or other episodes because you'll like more of them. Good?
Great.
They will.
Maybe.